Hello, thank you for joining me again. I'm going to talk a little bit about mindfulness and an exercise that you can do around eating. I think so many of us these days eat just to fill a gap of our energy, a gap in our stomach, whatever. Either doing it on the hoof, doing it watching the television, doing it glued to a phone. I had lunch out with a friend today, and there were two women on the table next to us, both of whom had their mobile phones in their hands. We didn't. We were chatting and catching up with one another. I think it's sad when things like that happen and human conversation is set aside for communication by remote means. Hey ho. So this little exercise, when I did it originally, I did it using a raisin. Common or garden raisin. If you don't like raisins, then you can use a sultana, or if you're lucky like me and have a nice health food shop nearby, I use these sometimes. Yeah, it looks like a raisin, but it's actually a dried strawberry. And if you look, you can see the little seeds on it, so that adds a different dimension. If you haven't got any dried fruits, then grape or an apple. But I'm going to go and talk through with a raisin. So much of our pleasure from eating isn't from the taste, but it's from the look of food. So having our food presented on a nice plate. They always used to say white. I don't know what the feeling is around about that at present. Probably it's moved on from that, but I still like light coloured plates. So before we do anything about putting this raisin in our mouth, we look at it. So if you have got some raisins, put me on pause, go and grab a raisin or two, and then rejoin me. And you can come through this with me. All right? So, look at it. It's ever so wrinkly. It's a bit like my face, in fact. Wrinkly, dark. Ooh, play of light and shade on it. Interesting. Yeah, I've never thought of that before, because often if I'm writing, I'll have a pile of raisins next to me and it's better than popping the odd sweet or two. So, I've looked at it. Now, feel it. Yeah, it feels wrinkly, but smoothly wrinkly, if you know what I mean. It's not prickly in any way. This one's quite flat, maybe because I've had it in the cupboard a little while. When I first get them, they're usually a lot more squidgy and juicy than this. Doesn't matter. So that's the looking, using my eyes. Smelling. How would you describe that smell of a raisin? I bet you've never actually described the smell of a raisin before. I'm not going to give you any words. You can find your own words for that. I know what I think of when I smell them. So give them a good sniff. And the same if you're using a grape. Sniff where the stalk came out. And the apple, even with its skin, you can smell it. And you might want at this point to just cut a small piece of the apple out and smell it again. So back to the raisin. I've used my eyes, I've used my nose. So let's put it in my mouth, but I'm not going to chew it, bite it. Just feel it with my tongue. That same roughness that I could feel with my fingers is evident on my tongue. Okay. So that's feeling it with my tongue. Let's now bite it. What about the taste? What about the feel? Has the feel changed now that you've bitten it? Or does it feel exactly the same as when you put it in your mouth? I shouldn't imagine it does. And the more you chew it, the more your digestive juices are released. The saliva flows in your mouth and you can taste it more and more. So slowly, chew it. Thinking how you can taste it, thinking how you saw it, how you smelt it, and how you're enjoying that one solitary raisin. I don't suggest that you take so long to work through a plate of food. I know the Victorians used to say 100 chews for every mouthful. Gosh, that would take an awful long time to consume a meal, wouldn't it? But certainly spend more time appreciating the food, acknowledging where it's come from, how many people might have been involved in growing it, producing it. Be grateful for that.